Hey everybody, it's Natalie Alicia Gold with the Gold Standard, and today I am joined with a new friend, a dear friend, Katya Libin. Hi, Katya.
Hi, Natalie. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. So many of you probably know this amazing woman, but if you don't, let me take a minute to introduce her. She is the CEO and co-founder of HeyMama, an unbelievable networking organization of which I am a part that is the best deal in town, period. Full stop. I mean, for the connections I've made just being a part of this community for a few months are unbelievable. Moms helping moms and showing up as their true and whole self. Katya, what an amazing organization you are the leader of.
Thank you so much. We need to have you at every event just introducing us and introducing Hey Mama. That is, your energy is so contagious, and really just happy to be here and getting to know you better and sharing a bit more about our journey.
Amazing. And look, I'm always happy, like we were talking a little bit before we press record, to MC anything. You give me the microphone, I'm a happy girl. So don't you worry, Gotcha. I got you anytime you need. So look, this is a brilliant idea, bringing moms together, because what I wrote into Money Mama was we're empowered women until we're moms. And all of a sudden, Ariana Huffington said very well, they take the baby in and they put the guilt in. They take the baby out and put the guilt in. How'd you come up with this great idea to make this organization?
Well, it honestly starts like most entrepreneurial companies begin is with like a big pain point that you feel where you just know that you really want something different and you're looking for it and you just don't find it. And that's exactly what happened for me after I had my daughter. I was working at a tech company at the time and I had a lot of support, but all from non-moms, right? So I had a lot of guys at the company. They were so excited for me. I went to ask about my maternity policy. They didn't have one yet because I was the first one to have a child at the organization. And, after I had Lily, I started to look around and really want to be surrounded by women that were like me, driven, ambitious, smart, curious, dynamic powerhouse women that were not closing the door on their career just because they had a kid. And I started going to these local play groups, and there were a lot of moms that were just at different stages and wanted different things. And I felt like I didn't quite belong. And I felt that guilt. And I felt like, all right, well, while you guys are out there doing the mommy and me yoga, like I'm gonna go close this business deal because that's still what excites me, even though I have this amazing, delicious young little baby at home. And so as I was feeling that, I ended up meeting my co-founder when our little girls were 3 months old, and we really hit it off and just became so, so close. And over the next few years, I thought it would get a little easier. We'd end up finding this, it was the two of us now. I was like, there's power in numbers. We're going to find our crew. And it wasn't that easy to network as a working mom because you're typically at work.
Right.
And so weekends are family time, daytime is work time. What does that leave you for
Nothing.
actually getting out there to new people and maybe even people that don't live in your neighborhood or go to your school district, right? Um, so I was able to convince Amory to start Hey Mama with me back in 2014 because we truly felt like there was a huge missing opportunity for a company to create professional resources and community tailored for working moms. And so that's why we built it.
I love it. Katya, you're speaking to my soul because when I became a new mom, I went from having a huge network and being like literally network Natalie. Everyone knows Natalie in New York City, running around on Park Avenue with my 7-inch heels. All of a sudden, I'm in Santa Monica. I know nobody. And the heels are traded in for sneakers. And all of a sudden, I'm a part of a mommy me yoga group. And I love these women, but many of them were decided they were going to stay home full time with their kids. So when you're wanting to talk about innovative ideas and what's next and how do you balance it and how do you deal with the in-laws and how do you deal with the judgments, it's a hard thing when someone's not really walking in the shoes that you're walking in. So I love that you guys went out and did this. So tell us about like early stage Hey Mama, 2014. You both have young children and you put together this amazing idea. But as we know, business is not built overnight. It's always an iterative process. So what was that process like from 2014 to 2020?
Yeah, it's been such an incredible journey for us, and one where we really always just took the best next step, right? Like we didn't know then what we know now. And we didn't have this grand master plan back then that actually happened now. It was definitely very iterative. And we were first time entrepreneurs. Neither of us had our MBAs. We did have over a decade of experience in corporate. So that was wonderful. I come from a BD background, and my co-founder was a fashion editor at Cosmopolitan. But we really were doing things differently than other people had done them. And I think the naivety of what we wanted to do and how we went about it was part of the brilliance, because we really were able to just, we weren't talking about doing it, we were just doing it. And that was really important for us in that first year. So how do you build community from the ground up? You go out and meet with people. We were Network Natalie, like 101. We were going out and meeting with women and talking about the concept and doing research and really asking them, what are you missing right now? What are you missing that would make you more successful? Because we wanted to create something that was really needed and that people would feel like was filling a gap that we felt, but we needed to validate that in the market. The first couple of years were definitely about getting the brand voice and just the building blocks, right? So who were the first several hundred women that got involved? What was the content we were telling? What kind of events were we doing? What did Hey Mama stand for? Early on, we were really slightly more anchored towards creative and entrepreneurial moms. And that worked well for us until we started to see all these powerhouse corporate moms that we were said, you know, we shouldn't be separate. We're all professional moms. Someone could be a creative entrepreneur in one area, then end up going to corporate and be creative, then end up going to taking a break for a couple of years. So our careers and stages as moms are super fluid. And so we wanted to be the community where you could come at every stage of motherhood and career to connect with other women. And so I'd say the big turning point for us was, you know, deciding to launch the membership and really thinking about how are we going to deliver for these moms. And then I'd say after we felt pretty confident about that, this year has been a tremendous pivot into being a very much an offline community with some online elements to now a completely digital first community, and seeing that our members who are joining from every state are getting so much value connecting with women across the country, that these regional barriers that I think in the past would have kind of had people, you know, connect with their local moms, now those walls have been removed and we're seeing just tremendous growth.
Beautiful. And it's really very true, right? I think about who do I know in New York, who's in my Miami group, who's in my LA group. Who cares?
Who cares?
We're all on a Zoom.
What are we doing? Like, we're not meeting up anyway. So meet someone in Nashville and in Denver and there's all this talent that, you know, the feeling you felt of going to a mommy group and saying, all right, these women are awesome, like, but we're at different stages of our career focus. In some of these markets, these women are the only working moms. You know, it's really, you're the exception, not the rule. Whereas I feel like in these bigger markets or in New York, LA, you know, Miami, Denver, there is a lot of that working mom energy. So depending on where you are, like Hey Mama, I think serves a different function because you just might not even have that luxury of going to an amazing local event. We're very spoiled for choice in New York, right?
What I love though, it's very interesting because in New York, when it was a time pre-pandemic, it was almost, there were too many options. You go to a restaurant, you have a 17-page diner menu, and you're like, what the hell do I get? I guess I'll just get the eggs and omelet I always get, because you're overwhelmed. Now, I think it's actually an amazing time for your community to truly grow, because people haven't realized that, like, we still need connection, especially now more than ever.
We do. We do. And the way we connect is different. The way that we're leaning on digital communities to fill that void, it's not just about, hey, can we connect and support each other in business, which is, I think, really where it starts, and where we understand that. We get it. Moms are busy. They're having to do all the same amount of work in half the time. They used to have 40 or 50 hours a week that they could focus. Now they have 30, because there's that 10 hours that you're spending on Zoom calls and managing your household and all these other things that used to be, there was more of a separation. And so we know that there's a lot of women that join the community and are saying, how do I level up in my business? How do I connect with the right woman? I want to grow my account. I want to, find partnerships. I want to get advice. But then I think once they're in the community, I think what they end up finding is that they're actually building real relationships, real friendships, feeling a real belonging. And the impact of having a sense of belonging for a professional mom, I think is really powerful. And it's one that I think we're going to see over these next few years how digital communities can really play a role in helping you get through some of the most challenging years of your life, right?
Totally. And Katya, what you said about they're maybe coming for the business, but they're staying for the personal connections. This is 101, what our pre-pandemic world of separation of church and state, separation of, personal and work life. We are the same human being all the time. And for us to put on a hat of like, I'm at work, so I'm a different person, but I'm at home and now I'm super fun. Come on.
Yeah.
So this is finally allowing us to shred those damn masks that we've been forced to wear supposedly because we had to fit in a corporate world. And thank God. And I love the fact that you guys are embracing that and truly, look, the people who I've met networking are the closest of friends because, yes, I had a huge network in college, but many didn't choose at 24 years old to start their own law firm. So most of my friends were in their 50s and 60s. So this is a community that is not saying you have to be 30 years old in this place and like have your first kid and be 3 months or that's it. It's truly an unbelievable, huge community. How many members do you have now?
We just passed the 3,000 member mark.
Amazing. And God willing, we're going to 10x that by the end of the year.
100%. I like where your head's at. I think there's, it's funny to us sometimes when we hear people talk about working moms as niche. They're like, oh, this is a very niche thing. Well, if you look at all of women, 84% of women end up having children. And there's over 23 million working moms. There's less working moms every single day because this recession is really being weighed on heavily by women. And there's a lot of women that are leaving the workforce, and there's a lot of progress that was made that's being undone right now. So we believe more than ever that working moms is not niche. It's a community that can service so many people across industries, across disciplines, and bring them together to share that collective power. And that the work that we can put into giving our members the mentorship, the access, the connections, the online education. We need that because every woman needs as many tools in her toolkit as she can have right now, given what's happening, given what's at stake. And so I'm very troubled by the numbers and what's happening for women right now at work. But I think there's a huge community of moms that need to come together right now to support each other.
What I am even thinking about as you're saying this is, HeyMama could truly become the incubator of all these women who were working moms and maybe weren't at the C-suite level, the executive level. Now, unfortunately, because of COVID, have been furloughed or laid off or whatever. What a beautiful opportunity to lean into a already existing network and have a roadmap in front of you. How to start a business 101. I mean, seriously, it's an unbelievable time.
Yeah, it is a time of reinvention and reprioritization of what people are working on, right? So whether they're getting let go for from their companies, or they actually just realize that they cannot function anymore with their existing organizations and they need something else. I think everyone's really had a lot of um, come to Jesus moments for 2020 where you're saying, okay, can I really do this? And do I really want to do this? And is this really my purpose and my mission? And I think that's why we've very often spoken to this entrepreneurial creator. We have so many moms that are building things. And then our corporate moms love to learn from them and vice versa, right? So there's this corporate experience of being super polished and kind of understanding process and understanding scale and understanding those dynamics. And then there's these entrepreneurial moms, and kind of getting them together, I think, has been really incredible. And they're going to be what ends up, you know, helping this generation of moms that maybe have unfortunately had to lose their way, right? For whatever reason, in 2, 3, 5 years, they might be looking to get back into the workforce. And, I think they'll be way more likely to have a mom that's an executive say, I'm not going to judge you because you were out of the workforce for 2 years. I get it. That's okay. It's all right to have a little gap because you were a mom. That doesn't make you less qualified. And I think the whole sort of hiring career process wasn't really built to support motherhood. And that's what this environment, we're seeing all these underlying problems now kind of rise to the surface. So we're going to be working on some exciting initiatives next year, Natalie, to support exactly that.
I love it. And Katya, what I love is a mom is actually, in my opinion, the number one leader. Because look at us now, homeschooling, cleaning, the emotional labor, as my friend Regina Lark, who's a PhD, likes to say and has written about. Then we have still the career, the wanting to get ahead. I mean, and we're doing it all. That is the executive that we're looking for. So if these companies want to keep going up, they need moms in power.
100%. I mean, she's the chief mom officer. She is absolutely incredible at juggling so many divisions of her house. And I'm calling them divisions because I really think moms are the CEOs. They set the tone for their house. They set the energy. They're the leaders. They're not that the partners aren't leaders, but they do set an energetic tone to their household, right? They're the CFOs. They're making over 85% of the purchasing decisions in their house. So they're deciding on almost everything. They're the chief culture officer. They're figuring out with their partners, what are the values, what's our family mission? What are the ways that we're carrying that through our children? They're taking the brunt of the parenting responsibilities as well. And then you have all these other ways that I think being a mom makes you stronger in the workforce. I've always thought that there's a motherhood advantage. I did a talk on this, actually, this exact topic. And I think, what's happening is that women are going into their careers and they're gaining so much insight and knowledge about process, about workflow, about, thinking, and how do they get prepared, and how do they strive in their careers. And then they're having kids. And what do? They take all of the stuff that they've learned from their careers and they're trying to implement similar processes at home. Some of that means you're type A, some of that means you get how to create a system within your household. And then you're applying that towards how you make decisions on everything. But while you're being a mom, I do think, and there's studies that talk about this, I do think that the patience level increases, that you can be calmer in crisis, that you're negotiating really well because you're getting practice in a way that you wouldn't be challenged. You normally don't have a completely unreasonable 2-year-old that is screaming hysterically because their sock is blue and the other sock is purple. And that's not a normal dynamic you'd be placed into a company environment. But motherhood, I think, prepares you for everything. So companies, when they're looking at who to hire, they shouldn't look at moms and say, oh, she probably has a lot on her plate and she's probably too overwhelmed and she probably wouldn't be able to focus on this. And oh my God, 3 kids, that's so many kids. These are all preconceived judgments. They're stigmas. They're continuous mindsets that I think are stacked against working mothers, when I feel like the reality, and something I've seen validated by women like yourself and moms within HeyMama and others, is that these are efficient, hardworking, capable, energetic, incredibly loyal, awesome workers. And they're going to end up increasing your bottom line. So we have to make progress. And that's part of our larger mission, is really reshaping the perception around working motherhood. And I think one of the ways we do that is infusing our community with as much access to power and resources and support. So that way we have more women executives, because we don't need to explain that to them. They're going to get it, right? So that's how we have that generational shift, where my daughter looks at me and says, oh, my mom was a CEO, so duh, I can do it, right? And that's going to change, because my mom wasn't a CEO. I'm an immigrant, right? There's a lot of other women that don't have their moms or grandmas to lean on for advice. So I think it's a larger piece of the whole puzzle that's shifting the perception around what your average mom is. And your average mom could be your average executive.
I just love that. Everything I do is about showing my two daughters that anything is possible for them. And I just love what you said, like, duh, my mom was a CEO, so I'm going to be a CEO.
Why not?
Why not? Exactly. Katya, so the last question I always leave off with is, what is your big why?
Good question. I'd say, my big why personally is, how do we make career and motherhood work better together? How do we have these things not seem so opposed to each other, and have them really work towards each other? And that for me means, building this community with incredible women like you that are really helping reshape what it looks like to show up. So, on a personal level, that's something that gets me really excited, is to have an actual solution for women that makes them feel more ready to meet the challenges of their day-to-day life. I think HeyMama's larger mission and our big why is that we believe that moms need to be in the workforce, and we want to do what we can to help them thrive and stay there. We really think the world needs more moms in the workforce, right? So that's part of our big why, and we're getting there one member at a time.
The future is female, and moms are at the forefront. Katya, it has been an absolute pleasure. Everyone should be joining HeyMama, who is a mom, who's looking for an amazing community. Believe me, it is an amazing community. Katya, thank you again for coming onto the show. And I cannot wait to have you on next year at the same time and have you telling me, we just passed 30,000 members, no big deal. I'm waiting for that. And
I would love that. Thank you so much, Natalie. I absolutely love your energy and your enthusiasm, and just really appreciate you supporting us so much.
Of course. Thank you, Katya.